It'd be like sucking Werther's Original through a dirty sock.
What happens to Scotch when it's aged in Texas? Why is this even an interesting question at all?
Well, there's two reasons actually.
Yes.
The climate of Scotland, nothing like the climate of Texas.
Right.
I know it's surprising to some.
Stunning.
Yeah. We have a few differences. And the other thing is that the barrel use habits of Scotland are pretty different than Texas.
Right. Do you remember, because we can't, here's the situation. Why can't we call it Scotch even though we got distilled new make spirit
From Scotland.
from Scotland?
Because Scotland has this rule that you can't call it Scotch unless it leaves Scotland in a bottle.
Right. So we didn't get it in a bottle, we got it in totes, but it's not illegal to call it Scotch on YouTube, just on a bottle label, so we're gonna call it Scotch.
By the way, that's single malt Scotch that you can't get. You can actually sell blended Scotch.
Okay.
Outside of Scotland, it has to be bottled. You can be bottled elsewhere.
Yeah.
We decided, because we had about 1,000 liters of it,
Yeah.
we could distribute that across a whole bunch of options.
Yeah.
And our Whiskey Tribe Patreon people voted, and we distributed it across a handful of different things.
So we filled up a bourbon barrel. Now why is this an important one?
Because that's traditionally one of the barrel types that Scotland's using. Every once in a while, Scotland will actually do a first use new charred oak. It's more rare, but it happens. So we have a 5-gallon new oak. I think the next most common is probably the rum finish.
Right.
You see a lot of rum finishes, and Balvenie has one, Caribbean cask. And then we just took some actual Scotch barrels that they had pieced together from other places. So we got 2 Laphroaig barrels.
Yep.
And then we managed to get our hands on this Jerkum barrel, and we wrapped our hands around it and filled it with Island New Make.
The reason why we own a Jerkum barrel
It's because I started giggling.
is because we just started laughing at the name. Already have some pretty clear outliers here. Let's get the new make. Where's the new make?
It's up at the distillery.
Okay. You grab that and I'll meet you in the studio.
Okay.
Okay, so Daniel, I'm very excited to dive into the specimens that we have pulled. To see the colors, it has to be on a white.
Yeah, look at that.
So obviously this is the new make. This is gonna be clear.
Yeah, let's start it in order of color. Wait, look at that.
And then, yeah, there we go. The outlier is obviously this 5-gallon barrel. And this would have stunned me if not for the recent video, the recent episode we did with vodka in a whiskey barrel.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe it entered it at 125 proof. 6 months old. This went in the barrel at 130.20.
Yeah, so also 6 months old.
There.
The Jerkum went in December.
Okay, so that's about 7
So
months.
that's 7 going on 8 months
Right.
old. Laphroaig 6 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Bourbon, oh geez, 8 months. They're all 6 to 8 months.
All much less than a year. Let's start with the new make. This is what came right off the still, hasn't touched a barrel.
Woo!
Fruity.
Yeah.
Very fruity, very apple juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that's what in Barrel House I was saying my hands smell like apple juice.
Do you recall a proof off of that?
No, it was really high.
Yeah,
though.
it is high. You can smell the heat off of that thing. Yeah, it's just a nice, sweet apple juicy. So let's dive into the rum. This went into a rum barrel, and January 20th.
Keep yours in the same order we have them in front of us.
You don't tell me what to do.
Keep these in the same order we have in front of us.
Okay. Oh, already.
Ooh.
Wow, it's changed. It's changing. That is like a.
I'm getting butterscotch.
I'm getting like a
hard candy butterscotch.
Butterscotchy hard candy caramel. Honestly, sometimes rum barrels, they don't do what you would expect with a Scotch. But the only thing I think we can tell at this point is it going to be a promising direction. This is much too soon to say it's ready for prime time. We're months in, and even in like a hot climate like Texas, you're going to be in it for several months, a handful of years before it's ready to put into a bottle.
It kept all the grain. It subdued the fruit under honey.
That's already beginning to taste more Scotchy than new makey.
Yes.
Yeah.
This I am, honestly, I'm most excited about this.
This is the bourbon barrel.
Because this is the closest to aging Scotch that we can get in Texas. Used bourbon oak.
There is a difference.
Oh yeah, this is
getting more of a vanilla on the bourbon one.
Actual vanilla and a lot more wood. Ooh, I like that a lot.
I do too.
I like it better even though this one's more fruity sweet.
I don't know, I think I like the rum one better right now at this point, this very, very early stage. So the Laphroaig. So if you're not familiar with the world of Island Scotches, of which Laphroaig is one, this is where you get the big, smoky, like ham, meaty, campfire type of flavors in Scotch. Ooh. That's a subdued woodiness.
Go back to that rum. It explodes with fruit all of a sudden.
Compared to the Laphroaig.
Compared to the Laphroaig, yeah.
Laphroaig flavors, Isla flavors, those are very intense, heavy-handed flavors. And right now,
I am getting
wisps of an ashy wood.
I was gonna say a little bit of wood smoke, but it is the ash, the cold ash of a fire. Oh, I don't know. That one didn't quite become anything yet.
Oh, obviously this is not ready for anything.
No, none of
what's most interesting about Laphroaig is, as big and vengeful of a flavor palette as Laphroaig has, it's not kicking the ass of this new make.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. That new make is too strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Jerk 'em. Wait. Time to jerk 'em.
This is more new makey than I think we've had up until this point. It's having more in common with...
It actually has, to me, more in common with the bourbon.
With the bourbon?
Yeah, but with the sweetness of the rum. Oh, that's got that doubled down on that weird sour fruit note I got in the Laphroaig barrel.
That's a dark fruitiness. It's interesting how, even within a handful of months, these are already noticeably different. The accents that I'm finding in here, I think they could very, very easily change.
Oh yeah?
Within
Absolutely.
the next handful of months. Now, this is where the action is.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we saved this for last. So 6 months, I think this is where we're starting to see how a really hot, temperate climate like Texas
Does with small barrels.
Yeah, it does with small barrels. I don't think even with small barrels in Scotland, you're gonna be able to get that much color.
I agree.
That quickly. How can small barrels go wrong? Because you think, oh, you can just age whiskey more quickly, just put everything in small barrels.
It doesn't work that. So there's, you know, say for math purposes, this is not accurate. Say there's 20 flavors going on in a whiskey. 8 of them are due to wood.
Yeah.
Specifically. Well, all that's gonna happen with a smaller barrel is you're just going to jack the shit out of those 8 flavor profiles, and then accelerate that, but you're not gonna buy any time for any of the other flavor profiles.
You're gonna need to get it out because you're quickly approaching
too much wood.
This brick wall of too much tannin, too much wood, too much oakiness, and then that overwhelms everything and you're left with an overly oaky whiskey. So already, the vanilla that's developed on this, this is by far the most
caramel and vanilla and a little bit of ash, like it's almost charred.
Yeah.
It's good though.
It is good.
But it still tastes young.
What I think we're finding in the smaller 5-gallon barrels, when they're new and when they're in Texas heat, you're gonna get a vanilla, a nice rich vanilla very quickly. You're also gonna get like this barrel char ash, which is interesting because we're doing Island new make, and we've been naming American whiskey flavors. Vanilla, char,
all the things we found
sugar.
in like Michter's American.
That's infusing into the Scotch new make. The apple juiciness, fruitiness that I was picking up, and the maltiness also is getting.
Like those are almost unrecognizable from each other.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm starting to acclimate to the vanilla and the char, and the fruitiness is
creeping out.
Yeah, it's creeping out.
Yeah, but
so we haven't lost the fruitiness.
The burnt note on the back end is still so strong.
So I think in terms of the difference in aging in Scotland versus Texas, there's a lot of things that I think we have as an advantage in Texas, but for certain kinds of flavors. And
you need time.
There's also more of a risk of just ruining stuff if you're not on it, checking it very regularly. And I think there's a lot of like amazing, beautiful notes and flavors coming out of Scotland that I think we would be very hard pressed to ever be able to replicate here in Texas. It's a different scene.
We're fighting for it, but you would have to like put things on the ground part way, or temperature control, all kinds of things.
Let's figure out something fun and ridiculous to do on Monday. So the main thing that we're looking at in terms of the climate difference between like a Scotland and a Texas. You have all things like barometric pressure and all that stuff, but the main thing is the heat and the fluctuations in temperature. So what we're going to do is we're going to fluctuate some temperatures. We're going to see what happens with a neutral spirit. Whenever you take whiskey stave barrel wood, that makes sense. We're gonna chop them up, we're gonna put them in a bowl of superheated neutral spirit and then take it down to freezing cold temperatures and then back up to superheated and back down to freezing, and we'll see if we can get flavors. Here's a cat, y'all. Hey, cat.
We'll make barrel stave soup. We're gonna make barrel stave soup.
Yeah.
So here's the situation. Alex forgot to record audio on a very specific segment. Very specific segment of this episode. No, and we can't go back and repeat it. So he's gonna go through and provide the narrated audio with sound effects of these moments so you don't miss out.
Creases and shadows and stuff.
Check, check, 1, 2, 3.
There it is.
We're trying to figure out if... Dude, I cannot take myself seriously right now. Okay, and we're trying to figure out this plug right here. This plug right here. We're trying to figure out if it works, and it does. Look at that. The alcohol in this right here is gonna burn off in this.
Narrate! Sound effects! What am I saying? I'm saying words! What am I saying?
Now, fuck. Dude, I think I'm losing my mind right now. Check it out, man. This thing has buttons, and I'm gonna press them. Look at this. I can't do this, man. I can't do this. Look at that. That's perfect. That's perfect. We got a microwave and it's awesome. This ad brought to you by the Wizard of Ads partners. These are marketing professionals that turn small businesses into big businesses. If you want to learn more about the Wizard of Ads, go to www.wizardofads.com to find a right partner for you.
Basically, we put the the stave soup with the vodka in the microwave for like 15 minutes. It went up to 150 degrees. And then we took it out because the microwave broke for a while. I think it had an overheating issue. Sweet, sweet nectar. I just want to put my face in it. I want to put my face in it and blow bubbles. And Alex, this is how you learn. You little baby bird. You open your mouth and you take in the lesson.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, so we're gonna drop this in front of the fans to knock off the more extreme heat before we put it in the freezer. Check on it in a little bit. 21 degrees Fahrenheit. It was just below that tape. Now obviously we have dropped between the heating in the microwave, the fan blowing on it for a while, going into the freezer. Now let's go back in the microwave. Okay, Daniel, so we just got finished talking about ways that Scotch ages differently in Texas.
Yeah.
And it mostly seems to come down to the temperature variance because it gets hotter and it'll more quickly get colder, so that in and out with the wood. So we wanted to accelerate that to extreme level, and over the past several hours today, microwaving whiskey and then freezing that said whiskey.
Okay.
To see what would happen.
Oh, with charred oak.
So we chopped up a barrel stave.
Okay.
Made barrel stave soup.
What whiskey did you use?
I wanted to use like a neutral spirit. I didn't want to throw in the Scotch.
Okay.
I wanted to throw in something we already have a reference for.
Okay.
And that was the Silly Goose vodka.
Oh, so this is vodka?
Yes.
That's just,
Are you
started
seeing
clear?
the color? Are you seeing the color?
That started as clear vodka?
Yes. That's what we're working with here.
All your hopes, all your dreams.
Yeah.
Just floating in there.
Yeah. By the way, we forgot to test the proof on what this ended up being after all the heating and the cooling. 61.5 proof, dropped down from 80 proof. So we already got color on there in just a handful of hours.
I managed to get no bits.
And that's pretty impressive because there's a lot of bits in here.
I know.
We obviously got wood color.
Right.
Not just ash, we got wood color in here.
We did.
I want to know if we got any flavor at all comparing it to the standard, the 80 proof vodka.
There is a difference.
There is a difference.
Funky.
Yeah. It's very oaky and
it's like danky wood, like mulch.
On the nose, there's like a dank vanilla.
If any vanilla, I'm finding in that new make too.
No, there's no vanilla there. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's these sweet
Dude,
notes in that vodka.
So for context, how many whiskeys have you had today immediately before this?
7.
I have had 0.
Yeah.
Very, very fresh palate. I didn't even have lunch.
Really?
Yeah. Care to make a comment?
It doesn't smell like wood.
That vanilla?
That's a whole other ballgame.
This is, yeah.
That's real.
This was like 6 months. But I'm saying, did we get a flavor out of the wood? This isn't, hold on, this isn't the char flavor.
It'd be like sucking Werther's Original through a dirty sock.
The vanilla you scrape off of a factory floor. Much more subtle on the taste. Slightly bitter woody vodka.
No, all the sugars are in the alcohol sugars.
So basically, I was hoping for a much more obvious result. It's a little anticlimactic.
Wow.
Did it work?
Not really.
So I did all this for nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, I can see your package.
Baby bird!
We bop and pretty hot and as happy as I can be. Boom, boom, and pretty zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and pretty hot. I'll never be a